On this episode of Life's Messy, Live Happy, Cy answers, how do you transition from a peer into a leadership role with as little drama as possible?
So great question. So many of you are moving from the role of a peer to a leader, and now you're having to lead the people that you once worked right along beside. And how do you do that with as little drama as possible? First, you need to self-reflect. You need to self-reflect on what you did as their colleague that was helpful and that was hurtful to the process, because I guarantee you, part of the reason you're concerned about transitioning from colleague to leader is they know what you were like in the most private times. They know when you also didn't support where leadership was going, when you were driving your own BMW, when you really saw yourself as the victim, thinking leadership was doing something to you. So the biggest part about transitioning into a leadership role with your peers is getting really vulnerable and honest with yourself, so that when somebody says, well, you didn't agree with this 3 days ago, you can say with full candor, you're absolutely right, and own it. I realized there were times that things came out that I resisted. And now that I'm in the role of a leader, I'm really seeing that from a different angle. And I wish I had acted differently. And as your leader, we have this great relationship, having been colleagues. I'm hoping it won't take much of a call to greatness for you to join me in really creating something amazing here. So look at your own piece. And when confronted, I want you to just own it. Show that you've self-reflected. Let people know that you get it. And now you see things with some different eyes, and you're hoping that they will give you the gifts of their buy-in and their work. Other things you need to do is stop making big mandates or commands or announcements on, now that you're a leader, here's how you're going to do it, what you're going to create. Great things for leaders to do, even if you've been colleagues, is to listen for a while, to come up with amazing questions, and to do some one-on-ones, and to ask people how they think we could do this, to really manage energy away from just hearing why we can't or why we shouldn't have to, or venting or complaining, and moving energy towards what would great look like, and what are your ideas? How could we get there? And really have some listening sessions where you're not asking for approval, you're not negotiating buy-in, but you're listening for where the team could move forward next. So own your own stuff. Take time to do some listening, no big mandates, no big commands, and then get really busy putting goals in place, helping people understand how they can move those goals forward, meeting with people one-on-one on a regular basis. Reality-Based Leadership, my first book, Ditch the Drama, gives you an exact formula on how to do this. Get back to basics. Get very clear and practice my techniques one or two at a time. But you don't have to be the perfect leader. You have to be a perfectly open leader, willing to self-reflect, acknowledge, own, and use that for continuous learning. So how do you go from colleague to leader? Hopefully, it's a lot of the same stuff if you were a great colleague that you use colleague to colleague. And now that you're their leader, you're just calling them to greatness with a little bit more authority and informal power. Another thing is to identify any elephants in the room with transparency. Yes, I know that we were both up for this position and I was selected. And let people know that you get it. You know that this isn't the outcome maybe everybody wanted, but now that it is our reality, ask folks how you can work together to make this reality a great one. And if it was my job that you wanted, what can I do as your leader to make sure that the next job you're up for is a no-brainer? How can we work together to get the organization what it needs and to help you grow in the ways that will make you successful? So calm, transparent, self-reflective. How do you move ahead with no drama? Move ahead with no drama. Ask yourself what you know for sure. Don't create stories. Ask people how you can help. Call them to greatness. Talk about elephants in the room. Keep self-reflecting. All the things you already know how to do, Just do it even more intentionally with a lot more grace. And remember, the power of a leader isn't what you tell people, it's what you get them thinking about. So don't go in telling, preaching, teaching, mandating. Go in asking folks to reflect. What does great look like? Where do we want to go? How could we get there? And you're going to be just fine.